Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to go through my second trimester video. Before I actually jump into my video, I want to thank you guys for all the love and comments that I got on my last video. I actually did not expect that video to get as much love as it did. It makes me feel really good that I'm able to share my experience with you guys and that you guys have received it so well. I was very nervous sharing my side and my experience and my opinions on pregnancy because of how pregnancy is normally perceived. So I thank you guys so very much for all the love, and I hope you enjoy this second part to the series just as much as you enjoyed the first part. So let's just jump right in. One of the things that I was worried about, because I was so stuck in my clinical mile and being a doctor, and especially working with pediatrics and seeing the bad thing about being a house officer working in the pediatric department in the hospital is that you see the worst cases. You see all the things that could go wrong and you see it firsthand, which is something else that added to my stress coming up on the guilt and the uncertainty. I was also very afraid because I'm always surrounded by sick babies or sick children, and I always could be aware of what could go wrong with babies. That it also added to my anxiety and added to my stress in that sense. And something that was offered to me, and you more get it when you are doing your antenatal care privately, although I think it's something that the public system should suggest or can suggest to women if they can afford it. It's something called a panorama test, and I opted to do that test, and you do it between the weeks of 10 to 14 weeks of gestation, which is kind of the window between your first and second trimester. And what it is, it's a chromosomal test that can be done by taking a maternal sample. So that is, I get my blood drawn, and then it can give me a chromosomal analysis of the actual fetus. So it's technically non-invasive because I don't have to get an amniocentesis. I don't have to actually have a sample of the baby's own drawn, and I don't have to enter my amniotic fluid for me to get an analysis of the baby. And it's just me giving blood. And if you go through pregnancy, you giving blood at a point in time becomes a no-brainer because you have to do it so many times. So what they do is they take a sample of your blood and they do chromosomal testing. They have a fraction of the baby's chromosome is actually present in your blood supply, and they run some chromosomal tests on, as well as some gene deletion tests on, and they could tell you the major chromosomal abnormalities that a lot of women worry about. So trisomy 21, which is Down syndrome, trisomy 13 and trisomy 18, and then they also have some other deletions. As well as the test can also tell you if the baby is male or female, which is something I was really excited about because I have always, if I was to get pregnant, wanted a daughter. I have nothing against boys, but me having a daughter would have made my life 10 times better, I think. I don't know, I just have always wanted, if I was to get pregnant, wanted a daughter. Something about having a little mini-me to share my love of makeup and creativity and clothes and shoes, and I don't know, it's just something to have somebody to bond with, or the hope of bonding with somebody, and I just always wanted a daughter. So the fact that I could have figured out the gender of the baby as well as check for those chromosomal abnormalities so early on in pregnancy was something that I wanted to do, because usually you check your gender later on in pregnancy, and sometimes even with ultrasound the gender can be wrong and you can be expecting one type of baby and then during labor out pops another one. So that part of it is what I liked as well. The test is actually pretty expensive, but for me, being a doctor, I don't know, just my clinical mind, to me it was worth the price of it. And like I said, I also got to tell the gender of the baby very early on in my pregnancy, which I was super excited about. So if it is you are pregnant or becoming pregnant and it's something you want to think about, apart from the gender reveal part, you want to check for any chromosomal abnormalities or gene deletions that could lead to certain developmental abnormalities or physical abnormalities that you would have to prepare for, I highly suggest doing the panorama and coming out of the whole hyperemesis and extreme nausea of my first trimester. My second trimester, that nauseous state had started to like gradually decrease, and I was becoming more accepting and happier then to be actually pregnant with this baby. I was still feeling the feelings that I was feeling initially, but not as strong as I was before, which I guess with being pregnant for like 3 to 4 months, I was actually starting to come to terms with, hey, I'm pregnant, I can do this. Yeah, I might not be ready 100%, but it's something that I don't think anybody's ever ready for, even if it is you are having a planned pregnancy, even if it is you are deciding to be a parent. I don't think any parent actually is ready when they actually become pregnant and then like have the baby. So I was actually like starting to come to terms with it and talking to myself and being ready to actually like welcome this baby into the world. Granted, I was still very, very far off from delivering. So with the second trimester, having started off with decreasing nausea, I was a little bit more optimistic as well, and I didn't have that many symptoms during my second trimester that I did in the first one. So my second trimester, I would actually say, was my easiest trimester by far, because I was able to more or less be myself, apart from me actually having a baby and carrying around a baby. The second trimester would be the first time I actually felt the baby move, and I was certain that I felt the baby move. It was something that I was always very anxious about feeling, because I think for me that would be the one symptom of pregnancy that would make me feel like connected to the baby that I was carrying around, and I was always very like anxious and eager for that part of it to actually start. Granted, when I first felt movement, I wasn't actually sure it was movement, and let me see if I could actually describe how it felt at that point in time. And that made me think that maybe I was actually feeling movement beforehand, but it was the first time that I kind of was certain that, okay, yeah, baby is moving and maybe that's what I'm actually feeling. And that was actually around February, when like the first movement that I felt, and I was sure it was actually movement, felt as, do you know the feeling you get when you like on the downside of a roller coaster, or like you go over a hump in the road very suddenly and you get like that kind of like flutter in your stomach? To me, that's how initial baby movements feel, and I had felt that kind of feeling, and I wasn't actually sure it was baby movements, but having felt it a couple times well, then I was like, okay, this can't be just a random feeling. Like the fact that I'm feeling this repetitively, this has to be what the flutter that everybody talks about, or the movement of the baby actually feels like. I know some people describe it as like, it almost feels like gas in your tummy, and I could get why they say that, but to me it wasn't actually that. It more felt like that like, you know, that feeling you get when you go down the side of a roller coaster. And I remember the first time I was certain, it was a very emotional feeling, because it was like, this is the first time, because all the times before I was thinking of the baby in a very clinical manner, and I was like letting my medical side take over. Granted, my medical side was always like a background noise. I was still letting like my medical side run my pregnancy thus far, and I wasn't letting my maternal side come out, because I was so like anxious about being pregnant and anxious about so many different things. I didn't let myself feel like a mommy, and I think the first time that I connected that feeling that I was feeling was the baby actually moving, that was the first time that I actually started to feel maternal. I don't even know if I'm explaining it correctly. It's not that I wasn't having maternal instincts towards the baby, But it's the first time I let my guard down and didn't clinically think about the baby. I myself feel emotional about the baby, if that makes any sense. I don't even know if I'm explaining myself correctly, but hopefully you get what I mean. And there is nothing that describes that first movement feeling that you get. It makes you feel very like overwhelmed as well as kind of out of body, because it's like, oh my god, I actually have something alive inside my body, which is pretty crazy to think about, the fact that you could have an entire other human, entire other being living and moving and being inside of you, and you can like feel them moving, and then you start to wonder, can they sense you? Do they know you're there? Like, I don't know, it's just a very overwhelming feeling, and it's nothing I can describe to you to explain it fully, but it was a very big moment for me because it made me feel less alone in a sense, because I don't know, it just made me feel less alone, less clinical, and more emotionally attached to what was going on inside of my body and inside of my head. And I was very grateful for the fact that I could feel babies' movements, and like women could feel babies' movements, because I think that makes you feel very, very connected to your baby, and it brings out a side of you that honestly, especially for somebody like me who has a lot of anxiety and had a lot of like guilty feelings and unsure, uncertain feelings towards the pregnancy, that point in time made me feel a whole lot better, because now I could have some sort of interaction with this little baby that I wasn't sure I was capable of being a mommy to. I don't know if I even explained that correctly. I think I just went around the wheel and didn't really explain myself, but hopefully you guys get what I actually mean by that. The initial movement is amazing, and I don't think anything in this world could actually describe the feeling of feeling your baby moving for the first time inside your tummy. It's strange, it's overwhelming, it's otherworldly. It makes you feel very, very strange at the same time that, oh my god, I have a living creature inside of me, but oh my god, I have a living creature inside of me. Okay, so this is something that I want to talk about that I went through during my second trimester. And I wasn't really went through, but some things that I thought about during my second trimester. And I think it's something that we don't tend to talk about during pregnancy. Women just in general tend to like bear stuff and not really express themselves and talk about because it's expected of you. But I still think it's very important, especially for the mental health of moms and for women in general, just to like be able to like express themselves, and for you to be able to be aware that there are differences of opinions, and not because the general public tends to think one way and you think differently makes you wrong in any sense. So any of you who know me know that I absolutely 100% love carnival. I work in the hospital, in the public system, I do calls, I miss out on a lot of the events, I don't get to do a lot of different like linemen, and I don't get to do a lot of linemen and going to events and stuff. I miss out on a lot of it. But carnival is my time of the year. It's my favorite time of the year. I will rather work for Christmas, I will work for New Year's. I will not work for carnival. I love taking my leave around that time. Carnival is my favorite time of the year. It makes me feel very Trini and very like, I love my culture. It makes me feel amazing. And finding out I was pregnant made me feel initially very sad, because I was like, oh man, I can't play carnival because I'm pregnant, whatever. And then coming closer to it during my second trimester, when I realized that I was no longer sick and that I felt like myself, I wasn't as big, I was like, you know what, I could probably play carnival anyway. And when persons found out I was playing carnival, some people at work and some people outside of work, they were like, oh my god, I can't believe you can't just not play carnival for 1 year, you're putting the baby at risk. What's the big deal? Just sit this year out, etc. And I was like, no, why should I have to sit this year out? I don't plan on playing on the road. My husband has a truck for carnival, so I was planning to be on the truck anyway. I wasn't going to go down on the road. I wasn't around any excessive amounts of speakers with noise. Nobody's going to hit me in my tummy. I wasn't going to drink alcohol. I wasn't going to be in direct sunlight. What's the big deal? why can't I play? I'm just like, oh my God, you know, you're gonna have to give up stuff as a mom. Why can't I just sit this year out, etc. And I was just like, you are being so overly dramatic for no reason. I know what I'm capable of, and I know I'm not putting myself or my baby at risk. Why can't you all just butt out? And people were just very adamant about it. And then it got me thinking that why was I so adamant about playing carnival? And then I realized that I was scared. When you become a mother, and like I mean this in no disrespectful way to the dads out there who play important roles in their children's life, who are active and present in their children's life, or even single dads who do the mother's role, or quote unquote do the mother's role. But I just mean in my own experience and what I have witnessed is that most times, in most cases, when two persons conceive, the mother bears the brunt of it. And let me explain myself. Women are the ones who get pregnant, carry the pregnancy, your body goes through all the trauma of pregnancy, your body goes through all the changes, your body is the one that's forever changed and may not ever get back to your pre-pregnancy state. You are the one that has all the emotions, hormonal changes, mental changes. The woman is the one that goes through that. And then afterwards, most women tend to be the persons who take care of the children in the home, even if you do have a very active partner or a partner that more or less comes up to 50-50. Somehow it still seems as though the woman is the one. Women are the ones that care for the children the most, and children in general tend to like attach to their moms more. I guess it's a maybe in pregnant and carrying to term thing, I don't know, but in general women tend to bear the brunt of pregnancy and then having a child. And in doing that, a lot of women tend to give up themselves. So they become, or they morph into their mommy self and forget the person that was there before pregnancy, before children, and they don't tend to take care of themselves, or they don't tend to like put themselves first, or they don't tend to remember or continue to do their hobbies that they were doing beforehand, because they're so focused on being a good mom and making sure that your child is well taken care of and has the best and does the best, etc. And you become mommy, and that's all you are. And that was something that I was scared about, is that I did not want to just be mommy Leah. I wanted to be me. And I actually don't think that's such a bad thing to want to hold on to me. Then I didn't want to be only thought of as a mom. And if you think about it, even in society, a lot of people, like you may see a woman going out and she dances in a certain way, or she dresses in a certain way, and you know that she has a child. You might hear people make comments about, she's a mom, she really thinks she should be getting on like that, or she really thinks she should be dressing like that, or she really thinks she should be saying those things. And I think it's unfair. Like, why do we like put the mom category so, like, we place that so much emphasis on that, when we have to realize that she's a woman first, and she was herself before she was a mother, and she can be both. Like, she can do both things. She can have both mommy her and pre-mommy her, and have them and be amazing at both categories. And I did not want to just lose myself to pregnancy. I did not want to. I was scared of giving up so much of myself that I was no longer me. And people may hear you say those things and think you're being selfish, and maybe in a sense you are. But why can't I be selfish? Why can't I be an amazing mommy and still be me? Love my child amazingly well and give my child the best and ensure that my child is well taken care of and still be me. Like, why do we think those two things are mutually exclusive? Like, why I can't have them both? And I think it's something we don't talk about in society. It's something that we don't expect women to be able to do in society. And I think it's unfair. And for me, I was like, no, carnival is my favorite time. I'm not putting my baby at risk, which for me is my first priority. I'm not putting my baby at risk. I already fulfilled that priority. So then I could still be me while still being a mommy, because I made an appropriate decision, ensure that my baby was safe, and then I enjoyed myself. And I do not regret playing carnival. I think I look cute for carnival. I think I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I didn't drink any alcohol. I drank water. I didn't go out in the sun for any excessive amounts of time. I had seating available when ready. I ate. I danced. And I enjoyed myself. And I do not regret it one bit. I think I actually enjoyed carnival a lot more this year because I was not drunk. I didn't even know I could enjoy myself without being drunk. And I wasn't drunk and I enjoyed myself thoroughly. So if you are pregnant and you want to play carnival and you know you're going to be safe and somebody's down your neck about it, don't let people like make you feel guilty or second guess yourself if you know that you are being safe and it's something that you want to do. And it may not even be carnival, anything in general, you know you're being safe for baby and it's something that you want to do and people are judging you. Try your best not to let people put that on you. That's on them. Don't let them make you feel that you could only be the mommy version of you and you have to give up the pre-mommy version of you, if that makes any sense. Yeah, I know it sounds very deep and I didn't mean to make it sound like this deep thing and it's just about carnival, but I was just giving you guys some insights into how I actually felt and why I decided, no, I'm going to play carnival regardless of what everybody else thought. Okay guys, so that kind of brings me to the end of my second trimester journey. I know my second trimester wasn't as dramatic as my first trimester, but I still thought it was important for me to at least give you some insight into what I was thinking during my second trimester and some stuff that I went through during my second trimester, just because it's a journey, so can't skip out the good parts too, right? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for my third trimester video, as well as, don't forget, why was that so dramatic? Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, message me if you have questions or message me your experiences. I do enjoy talking to you guys so very much. Again, thank you for all the love on my last video. I really do appreciate it. Until next time guys, bye!